and then Jaden Daniels. So he is on the Mount Rushmore of active quarterbacks. Do you have an issue with this?
Well, listen, I haven't seen the segment. So I want to be fair. Is this a fantasy football ranking?
No, real football.
Because if it's a fantasy football ranking, it's totally fair. Like, I think that those guys, certainly last year, all three of them had better individual stats than Patrick. If this is an actual quarterback ranking, it's embarrassing. Because it is not, Brew, about quarterback wins. It is about all of those guys are obviously SBOB, and all of those guys play each other in the playoffs. Well, three of them play each other in the playoffs. Burrow's been, not making it the last couple of years. Yeah. And all of those guys play Patrick. He outplays them, and they lose.
Yep.
Yeah. So Joe Burrow, the last time he made the playoffs, they played in a conference championship game, and Patrick was demonstrably better and beat him, even though that was in Joe's adopted stadium in Kansas City, Burrowhead. The next year, Patrick played Lamar in Lamar's one and only conference championship game in Lamar's actual stadium, and Patrick outplayed him, and they lost. The next year, Patrick, for the fourth time, played Josh in a playoff game, for the fourth time outplayed him, and for the fourth time beat him. And so those, if you put them all together, those three guys, all of whom are ahead of Patrick, have played him each of the last 3 years in the playoffs and are worse than him across the board, except for, I guess, 8 more total yards per game. So that includes rushing to, give, that's total yards, which is a fair way to do it. And they lose. And so the only available knock on Patrick is his regular season numbers have been depressed the last 2 years. And really, I think most people 2 years ago, when he was coming off an MVP, Brew, mostly just blamed the drops. So last year was the first year it was like Patrick wasn't as sharp, even though they were winning. To which I would say, I really hope for Ravens, Bills, and Bengals fans, one day we get to see what their quarterbacks look like if the regular season is the preseason for them, the way it is for Patrick. If they've accomplished everything there is to accomplish in the sport again and again and again, and so they are kind of going through the motions in the regular season. Mm-hmm. If that happens, and then they're still putting up MVP numbers, then you know what? Maybe those guys in the regular season are better than that guy. But until then, anybody that isn't a fan of one of those teams saying, you know what, Joe Burrow, who has not been to the playoffs in 2 years, or Josh Allen, who every season ends at the hands of that guy, or Lamar, who the only knock on him is he is a playoff underperformer, while Patrick holds every playoff record there is, that those guys are better than him. It's stupid. It's not. It's just a stupid take.
I agree with a lot of what you said. Obviously, I think Mahomes is number one. I'm going to try to make some sense out of this because this startled me that Mahomes is 4. One, and I don't think he meant this, but it's almost like you look at it and you say, oh, this is a regular season poll,
right? Yes.
Right? A regular season ranking. Because, they've been better in the regular season. And as much as I love Lamar, even last year when he played pretty well in that playoff game, he still had the big mistakes that probably cost him the game. So there's no way you can put these guys ahead of Mahomes right now. What I will say, Nick, is this. And Mahomes, it's like, at least so far, these last 2 years, it's been like Brady in reverse, where Brady was kind of managing the game, winning Super Bowls, and then became spectacular individually. And Patrick came right out the gate was spectacular individually, won some Super Bowls, and now the last 2 regular seasons has been kind of mediocre. I will say this, Nick. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, the Chiefs, or get there, if they don't win the AFC, and his numbers are again mediocre, I think, like, this should be, like, next year it would be, and assuming one of those guys won
beats him in the
beats him
playoffs, wins the Super Bowl.
This would be the last year that he could enter as number one. Like, if he has a 92 passer rating this season,
and they lose in the
playoffs or whatever, then you can move him down. I just think they still made the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you know, and
Josh
nobody thinks
Allen.
they make him without Mahomes, even if you want to look at his numbers, whatever. And you also got to throw in this. I get it, he's got Kelsey, older version, but still Kelsey. He hasn't had the weapons either. Burrow has the best weapons of, like, I would rank it probably Patrick. You can go, I like Lamar. If you want to throw in the playoffs, you say Josh has been better in the playoffs. You can have those two interchangeable. And Burrow 4 for me, because the early season slumps are his fault to a large degree. And he's got by far the best weapons of the 4 guys.
Okay, so I understand Patrick doesn't. First of all, let's look at the numbers that Patrick put up.
Yeah.
The idea that we're like saying that this isn't a conversation, I think, is odd. Here are the real numbers. I mean, he's not even top 10 in yards per pass. He had 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, pass rating, and you could say he didn't have the weapons. Well, Joe Burrow didn't have a defense at all. Joe Burrow's losing games 35-33. Patrick's winning games 17-10.
Yes, but then, which is why, I've never seen, and at no point in my recollection as an NFL fan, was there ever a time where a quarterback who was regularly missing the playoffs was considered better than Brady because he put up better regular season numbers. That's why I showed the playoff performances. Because if the Chiefs were winning these playoff games like the not Flacco actually was good in that playoff run, the Dilfer Ravens, where it's just like, well,
I'm not saying that.
I beat you. No, but my frustration with this is this. Joe Burrow's never won an MVP, never won a Super Bowl, and has missed the playoffs 3 times in his career, right? So because he had gaudy statistics 1 year, because 2 years ago, which was one of Patrick's down years, Mahomes was better than him and Josh Allen that regular season. Regular season stats. We're going to elevate him. For Josh and Lamar, when it is, for those guys, each of their last 3 of their last 4 seasons have ended at the hands of him where he has played better than them. Of course, of course that has to factor into it. If Chris Sims was ranking, hey, here were the 10 best regular seasons from last year, then 4 is too high for Mahomes. But that's not what it is. It is we are saying going into this season, who are the best quarterbacks? And I just think.
But through your logic, is Jalen Hurts the last 3 games they've played, right? Super Bowl, regular season, and the last Super Bowl. I'd have to pull up Jalen Hurts' numbers versus Mahomes, but I know he's 2-1 against Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Would it be fair to make the argument that Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes because in the last 2 of the last 3 games? You could even say he played better than him in that Super Bowl.
Well, hold on. Jalen Hurts outplayed Mahomes in 1 Super Bowl. Mahomes outplayed him in the other.
I don't know if he. Okay, I have to look at those.
I mean, Hurts was great.
I mean, Hurts had a fumble.
He
had the mistake, and in the second half of that Super Bowl, the Chiefs could have gained 188 yards, and they gained 187 because they kneeled down at the 1. They scored every single time they got the ball, got every single yard available, and Mahomes had a near perfect passer rating. So I don't think Jalen Hurts outplayed him in that game. He played well. I don't think he outplayed him.
Let's keep it honest. What's saving Mahomes is how great he was earlier in his career, individually. Because if he played like this, like let's say he's had the same winning as he does now, but his regular seasons were like, all his regular seasons were like the last 2, we would view him like Brady was viewed earlier in his career, which was not the best quarterback in the league.
That's fair, but this is where I am going to put a much larger emphasis on the postseason performances. The last 2 years, if we show Mahomes' playoff numbers, forget for the fact that he has the most wins, of course, by anybody over the last 2 years by quite a bit, and the other guys we're talking about have missed the playoffs. His postseason numbers, the all-time highest passer rating for a career in the playoffs is 103. Mahomes during his 2 down years is at 101, and including beating every single guy you mentioned. except for Burrow, who hasn't made the playoffs in the last 2 years. So I think it is a fool's errand argument, and I don't think, and this is what I was saying to you before the show. Where do you have Patrick Mahomes ranked?
I value quarterback wins, but I'm a quarterback wins guy. You guys make fun of me for it. So it's a little strange to be like the only quarterback wins guy here and have finally be proven right, I guess. I'm the quarterback wins guy. That's why that's why I think Jalen Hurts is underrated. But
you have Mahomes number 1 right now?
Yeah, I like Mahomes. I'm a Mahomes guy because I believe in like situational excellence. But it's hard to be like, you know what I wouldn't mind? It's the first year he didn't throw for over 4,000 yards in his entire career. He's 1,300 yards off his career high last year. It's not a small amount.
No, like if he does it again this year, I think then a poll like this is
there has to be a bridge between just saying quarterback wins or quarterback wins and how well a player played and his actual numbers that in the postseason that contribute to those wins. When he
situational excellence is what I call that. He is the best. When you need a play, he is the absolute best. That being said, I do think he has, when he was great numbers, Super Bowl victories, unstoppable, it was a bulletproof argument. Now it's not winning the Super Bowl, not great numbers, and the only thing we're kind of hanging on to is playoff victories. The door is opened.
I think the door is open for Jalen Hurts, actually. All those other guys, he had better playoff numbers than
during this year, though, it's open.
Well, we'll see.
Like if one of them wins it this year,
also those numbers, a lot of those numbers were post Sirianni Gatorade.